There's a phenomenon titled the comfort paradox. And the title paradox basically looks at people's lives and how they tend to settle for the bare minimum to find that comfort in their life and not go for whatever goal or whatever idea of success they had initially in their life. So the comfort paradox basically looks at the aspect where people would be better off in their life if it was much worse than it is currently or much better than it is. So if it was better than it is, then it's all good. Then they can settle. Then they can be okay with their life. But then if it was much worse, then it will force them to move out of that comfort zone of where now they want to strive for whatever goal or whatever dream they have in their life. But then their life has reached this base level of comfort to where they're kind of okay with what's going on. They've kind of accepted that this is their reality. So we can take someone who we could say hates their job, say they work for a company, they don't really particularly like their job, but then they keep on going to that job every day and they keep on working and working. That person would be much better if their job was much worse than it is currently, because that would force them to actually make changes in their life, to actually take up on change on whether they wanna leave the job or find a new position or whatever. And just, but that uncomfortability would force them to move out of that job. Or if it was much better, then they will be okay, because then it's much better. But just because it has reached that baseline of where it's comfortable enough to where they can kind of complain about it, but they can also get along with it, to where it can be a daily thing of, okay, I complain about my job, but it's still okay, it still gets the bills paid, I still make a living out of it. So basically it looks at the aspect where as people we tend to settle for what is comfortable enough in our lives, to where kind of it's kind of like we conform to this reality which we didn't really desire. Say prior to reaching that point, we didn't really plan on living, but then just because it's comfortable enough, just because I can get along with it enough, then it's okay, I will just accept it as it is. Whereas if it was much worse than it is currently, it will force me to move. It's like putting your hand in a fire, like trying to warm your hand. If the fire is warm enough, then you can place your hand. Okay, the fire is warm enough. But if your fire were to get much hotter, were to get much more extreme, then it will force you to move, because now it's kind of decimates that comfort level to where now it's forcing you to think of the next move. So I think it's a really good thing to look into as people, because they say the key to happiness basically is needing nothing out of life. When you reach a stage where you feel like you need nothing out of life, that is when you find happiness. So it's basically being content in your life. And most of the time you find that people who may suffer from this comfort paradox are not really content with their life, because it's not the life they wanted, it's not the life they desired. In their mind, they still envision themselves living a much better life, striving for a much better life. But because they are in this comfort zone, they are in this comfort bubble that they are afraid to break out of. They will never really do anything about it. So they'll be stuck in this loop of living this miserable existence, which is miserable enough to where they can bear it, but they keep on wishing they had a better life. They keep on wishing they could strive for a better life. So we get stuck in that loop of comfort. So it forces us to basically do nothing to take upon change in our life. I think that's the best way to put it. They say comfort is the biggest killer to dreams, and I think there's a lot of truth in that. Because oftentimes we think that if I'm comfortable and then I'm gonna be happy, but I think yes, we need some sort of comfort in our life, but you need to be content with your life too. If you're not content with your life, then you'll always be miserable. And you can see this for every kind of aspect in life. We can see it with people who are poor and they don't like those living conditions. They are not really content with their life. They're gonna be miserable. Someone who can be in middle class, but they still want to strive for a much, much better life. They still want to strive for that higher class life. That person will be miserable. Even with someone who may, in the eyes of the world, what they deem to be success, what they deem to be successful, is in that level. That person is in that level, but still they are not content in their life. Still they don't really find it satisfying to them, because maybe they didn't follow their idea of what success should look like. They followed the world's idea of what success should look like. A lot of money, a lot of possessions. Now, when they finally acquire all of those things, now they feel like something is lacking inside, something is missing, because they are not really content with their life. They haven't really accepted their life, that this is the life I wanted. Okay, finally I got it. Now they still feel that I need something, because they followed other people's idea of what success should look like. And I think that's the key to actually having a successful and a happy life, should we say, if that kind of thing exists. It's finding that comfort, but also being content with your life. Being content, like knowing that I need nothing more out of this life. Would I want a better car? Yes, but do I really need a better car? Not really. Would I want a bigger house? Yes, but do I really need it? Do I like have sleepless nights or daydream about having a bigger house? Not really. I don't really care. I like my life as it is, and I'm cool with it. I'm happy with it. And I think that's the basis of happiness with everything in life. Try, like, even though you might appreciate having that bigger, better thing, but that hunger, that thirst for it isn't really that much. It's like, it's a passing thought to where you can kind of think about it, but you don't really dwell in it. You just, okay, I don't want it that much to where it bothers me. And I think that's the key to happiness. And I think that is what the people who are suffering from that comfort paradox lack. It's that content with your life to where you like, okay, there might be unsettling realities about my life. There might be certain conditions to where I'm not really happy with, but I like my life as it is. I don't really feel the need to strive for a better life. I don't really feel that hunger for maybe that better success or that better social status or whatever it may be. But I'm really good where I'm at. Yes, I've accepted the downside of the life I'm having and the upside of it, and I'm cool with it. And I think that is a level we all need to reach in life. Basically, it's where you reach a level to where whatever your idea of success is, you can kind of understand the downside that comes with that idea of what success is to you. But you are happy with those downsides. You are happy being that person. You are happy living that reality because you appreciate the upsides of it. The upsides of it was exactly what you were striving for, was exactly what you wanted out of life. And that is the problem with most people, is that they are living a life in which they are not really content with where they are at. They're always daydreaming about a better life. They're always thinking they want more, they want better, they want more. And that is where misery comes, because you still feel that need out of you to it kind of makes you not appreciate the now, not appreciate the level to where you are at. Because in other people's perspective, in other people's view of you, you might be much more successful than them. You might be doing much better than them. But to you, because you're not that content, you're not that satisfied with your current reality, you still feel the need to I need to reach better, I need to strive more. Then you'll never find fulfillment out of your life. You never find that happiness. And it's an interesting thought, really, the comfort paradox. It's an interesting thought to it's like we cage our own selves in this life. We cage our own selves. So I think fighting comfortability, especially in a reality which you didn't desire, which you didn't sign up for. I mean, it is the result of your own actions, but you get what I'm saying? Like, you didn't really envision living that life. You didn't really desire living that life. You've kind of stumbled upon it. You kind of like ended up there, and now you find yourself like resenting your day-to-day basis, resenting your job, resenting maybe your friends, the people around you, resenting your partner. You basically not finding any joy in anything you have in life. I think fighting that comfort, fighting that reality should be an everyday struggle. Like, you should fight it on a daily, to where you don't want to cage yourself. You don't want to go through your whole life with that idea of, I wish I could do better. I wish there was more for me. I wish in some way, somehow, I could find the courage to break out of this maze. Is maze the right word? I don't know. To break out of this reality I've created for myself, to break out of this reality I've crafted for myself. I think that should be an everyday struggle for everyone, especially if you're not content with your life. Unless you wanna be happy, unless you feel you don't need that much, you don't need that much more in your life, you should try to be content. And every thought that comes with the desire for more, you should dismiss it. You should disregard it and say, I don't really want it that much. I don't really need it that much. Yeah, yeah. That was an interesting thought. I just had it. I thought I should do a video. Anyways, bye.